The legend of the haunted radio song. The song is played on a radio station that cannot be found through conventional tuning. It's only discovered by accident or late at night, when listeners are alone and vulnerable. The station often has no name, and no one can ever seem to remember the frequency after hearing the song. Those who attempt to find it again are unable to tune into it, no matter how hard they try. The song itself is never the same each time, but it always carries an unnerving quality. It's described as having a strange, dissonant melodic sound, distorted and mournful. Some hear cryptic or incomprehensible lyrics, while others claim it's instrumental, relying purely on an eerie, hypnotic rhythm. The listeners become obsessed with the song's meaning or purpose, and some listeners claim that it haunts their dreams or that they hear it even when no radio is playing. Most often, the listeners experience intense hallucinations and paranoia, where they lose the ability to distinguish between the real world and whatever the song has triggered in their mind. In the darkest versions of the legend, listeners who hear the song are driven to suicide or die under tragic or unexplained circumstances. Some listeners disappear altogether, their bodies never found, and their homes left untouched, as if they were taken by the song. The ghost of Stow Lake. In the early 1900s, a woman was walking near Stow Lake in Golden Gate Park with her baby in a stroller. She sat on a bench near the water to rest, and while distracted, the stroller mysteriously rolled into the lake. The baby drowned, and the mother, consumed with grief, searched frantically for her child. Eventually, she too disappeared into the lake and was never seen alive again. Ever since, visitors to Stow Lake have reported seeing a woman in a white dress wandering near the water, calling out for her baby. Some visitors have reported their cars mysteriously stalling near the lake. Others claim to have seen ghostly footprints on the path and strange ripples in the water, or hear eerie whispers, or catch glimpses of a pale hand reaching out from the lake. There is a legend that if you go to Stow Lake late at night and say, white lady, I have your baby," she will appear, either to weep in sorrow or to attack in rage. The Headless Jogger of Golden Gate Park. The story varies, but most versions say that in the 1960s or 1970s, a jogger was brutally murdered while running through Golden Gate Park late at night. Some say it was a random attack. Others claim it was the work of a serial killer who decapitated his victims. The jogger's head was never found, and his restless spirit is said to still roam the park, running endlessly in search of his missing head. Over the years, nighttime visitors to Golden Gate Park have reported terrifying encounters with a shadowy, headless figure wearing old-fashioned running clothes, his body moving unnaturally fast and his arms pumping as if he's in a race he can never finish. He appears suddenly, running alongside them before vanishing into thin air. Others claim to hear the rhythmic sound of phantom footsteps, only to turn around and find no one there. If you see the headless jogger and try to follow him, he will stop, turn toward you, and then rush at you with supernatural speed. If he catches you, you will feel a chilling breath on your neck. It's his way of warning you to never jog alone at night in the park. The ghost of the Bison Paddock. The tale begins sometime in the early 1900s. In this version, a young woman, a San Francisco native, went to Golden Gate Park to enjoy a peaceful day. She was particularly drawn to the Bison Paddock, a large, grassy enclosure where bison were kept as part of the park's wildlife display. The paddock itself, located near the intersection of Fulton and 10th Avenue, was often quiet, with only the occasional visitor strolling by. As the sun began to set and the fog started rolling in, she ventured alone deeper into the park, closer to the paddock, where she was last seen. Despite a police search, she was never found, and there were no signs of foul play, no clues, nothing. People began to speculate about her fate. Some believed she may have become disoriented in the fog and accidentally wandered off the trail, falling into one of the park's ponds or ravines. Others believed that she had been abducted or worse, that something malevolent in the park had claimed her life. After the young woman's disappearance, strange occurrences began to be reported by park visitors. People walking near the Bison Paddock started seeing an eerie figure at dusk, pale and translucent, a woman's silhouette that seemed to glide along the edges of the paddock, sometimes gazing mournfully at the bison. Other visitors spoke of hearing faint whispers, and the soft sounds of crying carried through the fog. Some people reported seeing the woman's ghostly face reflected in the water of nearby ponds.